Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tuloyan. So the victims of Omotoso are left holding the baby. Omotoso is now a free man. And we are now seeing the Minister of Justice, Mamoluko Kubai, saying that on or before Monday, the 7th of April, she wants to have a report from the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Shamila Batohi, into what really happened in that Gqeberha High Court. And for Shamila Batohi to explain, in essence, why Omotoso has been acquitted of all those charges. Now, in turn, now Shamila Batohi herself is now requesting or has ordered the National Director of Public Prosecutions in the Eastern Cape to give her a report to explain what happened. In other words, Shamila Batohi is in turn saying to the Director of Public Prosecutions in the Eastern Cape, why did Omotoso get acquitted? So the blame game begins right here. Everybody now wants to pass the buck. And in all this, Omotoso is the winner. Because this is just too little, too late. The Minister of Justice cannot be seen to be making frantic efforts now or intervening at this stage. When the judgment of the court is a done deal, Omotoso is acquitted. Nothing will change the outcome of that court unless an appeal is lodged. And how that will happen or whether that will ever happen is in doubt because Omotoso is supposed to be deported. As we speak, nobody knows where Omotoso is. Omotoso might well be in Nigeria or about to leave for Nigeria. So these, reactions after the horse has bolted are just not good enough on behalf of the authorities. Because the telltale signs were always there. The telltale signs were always there. They should have monitored this trial right from the beginning. This was an 8-year-old trial. A lot was not going right in that courtroom. When the prosecution was given 9 days within which to cross-examine and destroy the version that Omotoso of innocence that Omotoso had put before that court, the prosecutions did not use that 9 days. They simply, cross-examined Omotoso for an hour or so and they were done. A wishy-washy job. A half-hearted, endeavor by the prosecution. Tardy and unprofessional work. Such that, after seeing all those witness testimonies, the face of that victim immediately after the verdict was made known, that weeping girl with tears running down her face, will always remain with me. Now, what message does this acquittal send to the rest of South Africa? That acquittal simply says we are not taking gender-based violence seriously at all. If in such a high-profile case as this one, victims will come forward. And it's a very difficult thing to be a witness and to lay bare, in a courtroom, in full view of everybody and television cameras, the abuse that you experience at the hands of the likes of Omotoso. It takes a lot of courage on the part of young women victims to go through all that grueling process of testifying, and also, the cross-examination, the ruthless cross-examination that they are subjected to over a number of days. That can only be traumatic. And to find that at the end of it all, Omotoso just walks out of that courtroom a free man. So the buck stops with the Minister of Justice, and passing the buck to the National Director of Prosecutions, and for the National Director of Public Prosecutions to in turn pass the buck to the Director of the Public Prosecutions in the Eastern Cape. It's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. The damage has been done. Omotoso is a free man. The judgment of the court, once it has been handed down, stands. No matter what internal processes are going to be brought into play to try and take disciplinary action against whoever is involved, will not redress the situation. It is simply the ego of those who are in position of authority, to be seen to be doing something. And that something is simply not good enough, because the innocence of Omotoso is a done deal. The man is on his way to Nigeria. So this blame game that is now unfolding will not help anybody. Whatever report the Minister of Justice gets from the National Director of Public Prosecutions will not help anyone. It is apparent anyway, without any report being given, from what the judge in that trial said. South Africa knows what the judge said. And we all know that the performance of the prosecution was just not up to standard. So whatever reasons the National Director of Public Prosecutions will give to the Minister of Justice will not help us at all. In similar vein, whatever explanation the Director of Public Prosecutions in the Eastern Cape will give to the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Shamila Batohi, will not help us. Not help us. A lot should have been done way back, because those prosecutors in the Eastern Cape were not just up to the task. And it is easy to replace a prosecutor if a prosecutor falls, the minimum standards of professionalism rather. It is easy to just get the prosecutor replaced. But on and on this trial went for 8 long years. And nobody ever picked up that the prosecution was not prosecuting. The prosecution was just going through the motions. That is why we have that scathing rebuke coming from the presiding judge. So this just shows you, or this just shows the lack of political will, or even the legal will, for us to deal with gender-based violence. In the face of Omotoso's acquittal, it all becomes lip service. People are just paying lip service to gender-based violence. On the ground, and when it really matters, in courtrooms, this is what we are seeing. So at the end of the day, justice will forever be elusive for those victims. And a lot of those victims, because remember, half the charges against Omotoso were dropped, were not simply willing to come forward because the thing was just dragging on for too long and they couldn't keep up with it. So from something like 60-something, charges, those charges were whittled to something like 32. Half of the charges were just simply done away with because the victims were just, hurtful with the system and wanted to get on with their lives, and they simply just dropped the cases against Omotoso. So this is the reality of it. We'll see a lot of blame games being played left, right, and center, but it is all to no avail. Let them perhaps look into the possibility of an appeal if that can be possible. And that will mean Omotoso should still be here. And if Omotoso is in Nigeria, it will not be a problem of whether Omotoso will come here, because they cannot just simply arrest him on the basis that they've lost an appeal and keep him here. Omotoso has to go home. And chances are Omotoso will never come back for that appeal. Whoever spends 8 years in jail gets acquitted in a foreign country, some 4,000 kilometers away from your own country, and goes back for an appeal. And what are the prospects of success on appeal? Pretty non-existent, because the appeal court or the appellate court will focus on the record of the Quebec High Court, and on the basis of that, come to a decision. No new evidence is going to be adduced even on appeal. So the evidence that we have in the Quebec High Court will then be taken to, say, the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein, and the Supreme Court of Appeal will probably still come to the same decision, that Omotoso is still not guilty, because nothing will change that record. It all went wrong in the Quebec High Court. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video, for having watched all the others. Please like and share, and don't skip those ads rather, and have a nice day.